Why do INFJs spend so much of life searching for answers, for meaning, for connection, for clarity that always seems just out of reach? When you're one of the rarest types on the planet, less than 2%, that sense of being different isn't just a passing phase. It's a weight you carry, a lens through which you see the world and yourself. Carl Jung understood this silent battle better than anyone, and his words still cut right to the core of what makes you tick. These 10 lessons hold the key to unlocking the clarity you've been looking for your whole life. But the final insight will upend everything you thought you knew about your INFJ gift. Before we start, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our weekly deep dives into the world of personality types. And if you are looking to achieve a deeper understanding of yourself and your personality type, click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. Let's begin with the advice that reframes your need for solitude as a superpower. Lesson number 10. Stop apologizing for needing alone time. Jung called introversion an essential process of turning inward, not just a personality quirk, but a fundamental way to restore balance. For INFJs, being alone isn't a retreat from life. It's where your thoughts finally line up, where creativity stirs and clarity returns. Society may praise constant connection, but Jung argued introversion is a strength, a choice to protect your energy in a world that never slows down. Solitude, for you, isn't about hiding from the world. It's the only way to refuel after every glance, every conversation, every crowded room leaves you running on empty. Yet you're pressured to apologize, to measure yourself against a standard that never fit. Jung's words cut through that noise. Your energy is finite, and guarding it isn't selfish. It's survival. But what happens when your instincts whisper truths no one else can see? Lesson number 9. Your intuition is data. Jung believed intuition was as valid as sight or touch. For you, it's not just an occasional hunch, it's the silent undercurrent shaping every choice, every conversation, every warning bell that rings in the back of your mind. He saw intuition as a real, essential way of perceiving the world, not a mysterious gift, but a tool that gathers patterns, memories, and subtle signals all at once. What feels like a sudden spark is your mind processing data faster than logic can keep up. Picture those moments when you sense a friend's true motives or feel a job opportunity isn't right, even with no hard evidence. You might step back, trust your gut, and only later see that your instincts were right all along. This isn't fantasy, it's subconscious analysis, and INFJs are wired for it. Jung would urge you to treat these insights as real data, not just feelings. Try this. Keep a journal of your gut reactions. Write down those quiet nudges, and see how often your intuition points you in the right direction. In a few weeks, you'll see how it usually is. Next, discover why the parts of you shy away from are reservoirs of hidden power. Lesson number 8. Embrace your shadow self. There's a side of you that rarely sees daylight. The part that doesn't fit the gentle, empathetic mask the world expects. Carl Jung believed every person carries a shadow, a hidden collection of traits, urges, and emotions we'd rather keep locked away. For INFJs, this shadow can feel like a contradiction. Outwardly, you're calm and idealistic, but somewhere beneath, you might find anger, selfishness, or even a sharp edge of cynicism. Not because you're flawed, but because these traits have been pushed out of sight, labeled as unacceptable. Jung argued that ignoring the shadow only gives it more power. For someone wired to please and harmonize, repressing these darker impulses can spark guilt, confusion, or a sense of being split in two. But here's the paradox. The shadow isn't evil. It's a reservoir of untapped energy and potential. When you acknowledge and integrate these hidden parts, you don't lose your light. You gain a deeper, more actual strength. Try this. Notice who gets under your skin. What trait sets you off? That irritation often points to something in yourself you're denying. Recognizing it is the first step to wholeness. But what happens when your heart and logic start pulling you in opposite directions? Lesson number 7. Develop your thinking function. You move through life with a sensitivity that can feel both like a gift and a burden. Your empathy runs so deep that it becomes difficult to know where your feelings end and someone else's begin. Sometimes it's like you're drowning in other people's emotions and your own needs fade into the background. That's the cost of a dominant feeling function. Connection, but at the price of clarity. However, Jung believed that real growth comes from developing the quieter aspects of yourself. For INFJs, that means consciously developing your auxiliary thinking function. This isn't about silencing your heart, it's about learning to use logic as a tool. Stepping back, weighing facts, and seeing the bigger picture. Jung saw this balance as the bridge to clarity and decisive action. A quick pros and cons list is a simple, powerful way to practice. Lay out what feels right on one side and what makes sense on the other. Let your emotions speak, but give logic a seat at the table. Over time, this habit helps you make choices that honor both your empathy and your reason. That's the real challenge, not choosing between heart and mind, but letting both shape who you become. Because the next step is bigger than a single decision. It's the journey of becoming your most authentic self. Lesson number 6, the individuation process. Jung called this lifelong journey individuation. The process of weaving together every part of yourself, both the known and the hidden, into something tangible and whole. For INFJs, this isn't just theory. Your mind is a labyrinth of insights, ideals, and contradictions. And individuation asks you to bring all of it, light and shadow, strength and flaw, into the open. You don't just want to fit in, you want to matter. And being one of the rarest types adds pressure to stand out perfectly, as if the world expects your every choice to be extraordinary. But this path is rough. Perfectionism stalks your every step. The fear of being misunderstood, the urge to hide your most vulnerable parts. These are the silent battles that can leave you circling in self-doubt. You might catch yourself overthinking, measuring your worth against impossible standards, or retreating into your inner world when life feels too sharp. The truth, growth isn't about reaching some flawless ideal. It's about accepting the mess, embracing your contradictions, and letting self-compassion lead you forward. Celebrate each imperfect step. Authenticity means showing up as yourself, not as someone else's idea of perfect. Of course, even as you strive for wholeness, there's one blind spot that keeps pulling you off balance. Lesson number 5, understanding your inferior function. There's a part of you that feels like it never quite fits, a subtle disconnect from the world right in front of you. Jung's theory suggests that your inferior function is extroverted sensing. For INFJs, extroverted sensing is the least developed part of the psyche, responsible for being present, noticing details, and engaging with the physical world as it unfolds. But when your mind is constantly spinning through abstract ideas and future possibilities, the present moment can seem like a blur. You might misplace your keys or skip meals when your mind drifts away, all because your attention is somewhere far from here. This gap between your inner world and outer reality can leave you feeling ungrounded or overwhelmed, especially when life demands your full attention. Sensory overload can make you want to retreat, and the details of daily life slip past unnoticed. But Jung would remind you that extroverted sensing is a muscle. Start small and you'll build resilience. Mindfulness is your entry point. Pay attention to your breath, the sensation of fabric on your skin, or the colors in your environment. Physical activities, gardening, dancing, even mindful cooking force you into the present moment, sharpening your senses and grounding your thoughts. In the next section, we'll tap into the unconscious itself through Jung's active imagination. Lesson number 4. Jung's active imagination technique for INFJ creativity. You sit with a restless mind. Images flicker, ideas swirl, old memories tug at your sleeves. Jung's active imagination technique offers a doorway, not just to daydream, but to step straight into the hidden theater of your unconscious. For INFJs, this isn't just another exercise. Your mind is already tuned to pick up subtle patterns and symbols, so this method fits like a second skin. Start by choosing an image, a fragment from a dream, or a feeling that lingers. Jung recommended drawing or journaling as ways to anchor your focus. Let your attention settle there, then allow whatever comes next to unfold, without judgment or control. Maybe a symbol grows into a scene. Perhaps a quiet voice surfaces with a message you didn't know you needed. You don't write the story, it writes itself, and you become both witness and participant. This process can unlock creative ideas or shine a light on emotions you've buried. The symbols and archetypes that emerge aren't random. They're clues from your deeper self. This isn't wishful thinking. It's direct access to what your unconscious wants you to see. Some images, though, don't feel personal at all. They carry emotions you can't explain, as if you're holding stories that don't belong to you alone. Lesson number 3, the collective unconscious. Why INFJs feel everything so deeply. Jung's term for this phenomenon is the collective unconscious. He described it as a shared layer of the human psyche, filled with universal archetypes, symbols, and patterns that connect every person beyond their own story. For you, this isn't some distant theory. It's the silent reason why you sense emotions that seem to arrive from nowhere, or why a stranger's pain can hit you like your own. Your empathy doesn't just run deep, it taps into this vast, invisible reservoir that most people never notice. Think of yourself as the healer archetype, absorbing others' pain as your own. You're not just watching life unfold, you're tuned to the ancient themes and struggles that echo through every culture, every myth, every generation. Patterns in your dreams, symbols that tug at your focus, or emotions that feel larger than life. These are messages from the collective unconscious, surfacing to offer meaning and context. If you pay attention, these signals become a guide. They help you see your place in a much bigger story. Up next, those archetypal patterns hold the map to your life's biggest lessons. Lesson number 2, archetypal patterns. Some patterns run deeper than habit or memory. They're the silent forces shaping your story from the inside out. Jung called these archetypes universal roles that emerge from the collective unconscious. They aren't just ideas you pick up along the way. They're ancient blueprints that quietly guide your choices, dreams, and the way you see yourself. For INFJs, these patterns feel almost personal, woven into the fabric of your intuition and the questions you can't stop asking. Whether you're the healer drawn to ease others' pain, or the seeker driven to question everything, these patterns guide your purpose. They explain why you're pulled towards certain people, why some struggles repeat, and why specific work or causes feel like home. Jung believed that seeing these archetypes clearly can bring you closer to understanding your recurring challenges and your deepest strengths. Reflect for a moment. Which archetype is pulling you forward today? Sometimes the answer isn't about changing who you are, but about finally understanding the story you've been living all along. Lesson number 1, integration over perfection. The pressure to measure up to your ideals, to the world's standards, can feel relentless. However, Jung's vision for growth was never about fixing oneself or erasing one's flaws. He believed the real work lies in integration, bringing every part of yourself, even the ones you wish you could hide, into the light. For INFJs, this means letting go of the pursuit of perfection and learning to accept your contradictions, missteps, and moments of doubt. Your idealism is a double-edged sword. It pushes you to dream big, but it also whispers that you're never quite enough. This cycle of self-criticism can leave you stuck, always reaching for a version of yourself that doesn't exist. Jung's advice is simple but radical. Embrace your imperfections. See them as part of your story, not stains on your worth. The shadow self, with all its complexity, isn't the enemy. It's a source of strength waiting to be acknowledged. Growth isn't a straight line or a flawless ascent. It's progress in small, imperfect steps. Each one proof that you're alive, learning, and whole. Celebrate those moments. The journey isn't about perfection. It's about becoming real. And once you see yourself this way, Jung's wisdom takes on a new meaning. Conclusion isn't about reaching a finish line. It's about recognizing the rare journey you're on as an INFJ. Jung's advice isn't a checklist. It's a call to see your complexity as a source of power, not a flaw. Each insight, each quiet realization is a step toward a life that feels true, one built on self-acceptance, intuition, and the courage to stay different. Which insight surprised you most? Let me know below. If this resonated, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more INFJ guided wisdom. If you want to continue the journey to understanding yourself or an INFJ in your life, click either of the following videos, where we continue to unlock the secrets of the INFJ personality type.